think about it, it's been sort of natural way for people to communicate. So it's very normal. What happens with internet blog, I mean by that, is very normal. But also I think it's almost like a sort of counterpower, which is very good because it promises to people to have real, how can I say, real advice, but also real, in English, well, basically to express themselves really, because now magazines are so much also in hands of advertisers, etc., that actually bloggers and people who are expressing themselves through internet don't have to go through the idea that they have to, to serve everything which is advertising, etc. So it's, in a way, it's a real power for people to express themselves in a true way. So it's a very good thing.
Thank you.
Yesterday there was the launch of your application for iPhone. Do you have any application on your iPhone? Which one do you download? Which is your relationship with social networks like Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram?
And about all that, as much as I'm aware of the importance of it, and all, I'm the worst person on technology. Okay. I mean, I have no applications. I do not use internet. I use only the email.
Okay.
And I'm unable to go through even to check sites, etc. I'm really the worst person on that.
Okay.
The worst of the worst. It may, it may take a few years before I'm sort of understanding the whole thing.
Okay. Martini, with whom you are collaborating now, launched a lot of icons like Charlize Theron or Monica Bellucci. Which is your favorite style icon of today and one of the past times?
Well, it's complicated to say about like one today. I mean, I'm thinking of a lot of people. Someone here, I'm thinking of someone like Kate Moss. He's a great icon.
Yeah.
And she's a great icon because of her attitude. Talking Martini, she has something of her own attitude, which is a great thing. And I'm thinking other people in other directions too. And past, for my work, it's really a different story. I mean, I'm thinking different way. People who are inspiring in terms of exact straight, inspiring for shoes are really two people. If I had to combine a perfect shoe, it should be a shoe which has been done from the front for Dietrich, because Dietrich is all about her legs, her attitude, the way she's crossing it, the way she's playing with it. And then from the back, meaning where there is a heel, it would be Monroe, because Marilyn is someone you imagine walking, and then you look and she keeps on walking. So it's someone that you would see from the back. It's la démarche. I don't know how you say in English, but the way she walked. So one is actually very still, and the other one. So it makes, and one has a beautiful arch, and the other one is all about like the movement. So, but it could also be the girl from Ipanema. The only thing that for me, the girl from Ipanema is really a beautiful evocation of a woman who walks. And she definitely walks with no heels. I mean, if you think about it, I don't think that, looking at that girl is a girl who is walking. I mean, certainly she was in Havaianas or like little sandals, flat or barefoot. But still, it's a beautiful evocation. But otherwise, in terms of really icon, I mean, for me, the person who's been really my most iconic woman, not in terms of character, but in terms of beauty, is Nefertiti. She's been symbolized by her bust, which is in Berlin, but it's really it's an incredible beauty, first of all, and also it's a strange beauty because if you think that bust has been there over 4,000 years now, and if you look at it, if you could actually have exactly her face with a body replicated now, she would be extremely modern and she's androgynous. Therefore, she's very, very feminine. She wears a lot of makeup, but it looks very, I wouldn't say natural, but it seems really sort of perfect. It's this beautiful artifact. I mean, the eyebrows are really beautiful, the eyes, etc. There is also this beautiful element of how much she has this sleepy eye, really almost like Monroe again or Angelina Jolie. It's a really sleepy eye with a huge intensity in it. I mean, it's a fabulous ideal of an ideal.
What's the first thing you notice in a woman, and do you judge her by your appearance?
First of all, I never judge. I think that I'm no one to judge people, so I would never judge. That's the first thing. But what I'm looking at first are definitely the face. The face, and I hear the voice. The voice is very important for me. But it's really the face and the way the face is moving. I mean, basically the face language and the face. And then I was saying today that a thing that I love to do, once I've been really a little bit studying the person, then I'm thinking, okay, this person is actually on a pair of boots, or this person is on, trying to exactly imagine what the person is wearing, but only after.
Do you remember the very moment when you realized that you were famous, that you became famous?
I mean, at one point I thought, well, it's good that some people know who I am, and I remember very well, it was 2 or 3 years ago. I was in Los Angeles, and I was at the airport, and I was having this very hand luggage, very heavy, and I was sure that, I mean, America being so difficult about that, I thought, oh God, if I can go through with my 2 luggage, hand luggage, because I didn't want to check in, I'm very happy. And so at the moment where I was at the X-ray, I put the things, and some women sort of, and I had some shoes actually, so one of the women of the X-ray sort of said, hold on a second. She said, that's Louboutin shoes, what are you doing with that? I said, well, I said, it's my job. And she said, but you are Mr. Louboutin, oh my God, etc. And she got so excited. I thought, oh, you know, if I go through customs thanks to that, it's a very good sign.
Which are the shoes a woman must have in her closet, and which are the ones she has to erase from it?
Well, you know, again, it's difficult to speak for every woman, I would say, because, you know, according to where you live, if you live in a hot country, if you live in a cold country, if you live by the sea, if you live in in a polluted thing, all of this depends. You know, if you live in Moscow versus Roma, it's going to be a different thing. But let's say, to be slightly generic, I would say every woman living in a city or living, cities, should have a pair of pumps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would even say a black pump.
Oh, okay.
And then probably the second pair should definitely be the color of the skin. And so according, if you live in Moscow, it could be a pump, it could be a boot, it could be, you know. But if you're living in Rome, for instance, it could definitely be like a peep or even a sandal, but something exactly the tone of your skin.
Okay.
So it's very nice because you put it, you don't think, oh, it's just like a natural element of elevation, but it's not even a shoe. If you look at it closely, it's beautiful, but if you don't really, it's just your legs which are counting and the silhouette. So something which has this tendency to appear sometimes, but also be able to disappear completely, to fade into the silhouette. You don't think about it. So you should have one shoe the color of the skin, heel, and one plain black. To erase, literally now.
We need to know it.
Clogs.
Oh yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Clogs. And and one of the reasons, again, is shoes are associated to a lot of things. But if you think femininity, for instance, if you have a lot of sounds which are in reference to shoes and femininity. A small metal heel out of a mule, like a pump. A straight high heel pump, but the voice, the sound of the flamenco, which is like this heel straight, etc., which is beautiful sound. I mean, sound is important. Some movies are about the sound of a shoe, like the person, you express fear with the sound, or the way you walk, etc. If you think of the sound of a clog, if you close your eyes and you hear the clog arriving, you're thinking, okay, donkey is arriving. Or you're thinking a horse is somewhere. You're not thinking really a woman.
Okay.
So for that, just for the sound, it should be erased.
What about the Italian craftsmanship in your work? Your relationship with Made in Italy?
Well, I do everything in Italy. All my shoes are made in Italy. And the very funny part is that the few factories I'm working with are mostly men. Apart from stitching, it's often women, but it's mostly men. And but I decided to work in Italy versus France because at the beginning I was really being French. I thought, made in France, Paris, etc. But the reality is that the quality of shoes is good in France, but it's a very masculine work. And one of the obvious quality of Italy is that they have this feminine hand. Even if it's done by men, there is something very feminine. Men in Italy have a sort of, being very masculine, they also still have they have a great feminine side in their work. You know? And it's attention to details. Yeah, first of all, it's a culture of that, but the culture of Italian shoes, and that's also old. Most of the shoes were made in the 50s, were made in France, and then it moved to Italy. But a lot of the shoes were actually made in France from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But definitely the hand is more feminine in Italy. You know, there is this, but also, you know, if you look at the paintings from Carpaccio, you know, in Italy, there is a sense of color, there is a sense of femininity, and even in the painting, even you know, wonderful Italian painters have something which has to see with decor. You know, the sense of elegance is really in the colors, etc. France is much more strict for that. So Italy is very, per la mano è molto meglio.
Very good.